Riverside.
All right, there it is, puppy. Happy last day of the regular baseball season. We made it. Game 162. What's one of the best things you liked about this baseball season, the 2022 baseball season? You go first, puppy.
Well, first off, we actually made the playoffs, and my wife was trying to give me crap about that. Oh, the Padres. Look at we never.
Should there be an asterisk on it?
What? What?
That they made the playoffs.
Who?
The Padres.
Why?
Because they expanded the playoffs for more teams to get in.
Fuck you.
It's true. When was the last time they made the playoffs?
Look at that,
In 2020. And what happened that year? They expanded the playoffs.
Look at the old pennant thing. There used to be a time when the top two teams just went to the World Series.
Yeah.
Then they went to the pennant thing. So I do like that they expand the playoffs because it gets more fans involved. Like, I would have checked out if I look because the Dodgers were gonna run away with it,
and they did.
The Mets didn't come on for the Mets blew it on.
The Mets choked and they fell into the wild card. So now it's Padres versus Mets.
Yeah.
In the wild card round, and then it's the Cardinals and the Phillies, and the winners of those will play the 1 and 2 seeds. So I'm actually, and I'm gonna go on record here. I'm hoping the Padres win the first round.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they beat the Mets, because what that will mean is that not only will the Dodgers host the Padres in LA, they'll also host the Padres in San Diego, because it's like a second home,
There we go.
Let's go Padres.
Let's go Padres. Look, I know. The thing about the Dodgers, their lineup is already more solid, right? But then the thing that accelerates them to another level is, I think, how they go. Every single batter in the lineup, their approach to every at bat, like they go. We have a few free swingers that don't go up there with any patience or plan. Or Manny Machado, I swear, Manny Machado would hit 400 if he read the Ted Williams science of hitting. Oh God! But we're just not there. It is what it is. It's fun to watch. I appreciate being in the playoffs. And that's the thing about baseball, you never know. Now, I do know that we're not going to beat the Dodgers, but beyond, you never know if we're going to pull off a game or two, and that's what I'm excited about. Maybe pull off a game.
That's one of the things I liked about this season is, and I wrote this down. I love seeing Padres fans think they were going to win the division. I was like, okay, and then they took a lead in the division for a little bit. And then they went back to being themselves. And then, Juan Soto trade. We're winning the World Series. And how did that work out?
Even with Soto, I knew we were going to beat
Josh
the
Hader.
Dodgers.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a lot more competitive. I did not think they were going to just be themselves.
This is really the first season that I can remember where the Dodgers, every single series, they rolled them. I don't even think we won a series this year.
They did not win a series.
And I don't remember the last time that ever happened
awesome.
that bad. Yeah.
That was awesome. So that's one of the things. And also the sort of the back and forth banter, that was gold. Just okay, the Dodgers.
That's what I like about
salary. They have all this money, but guess what? The Padres spent almost as much money as the Dodgers this year, and
Tranqui's way. Hey, we're fifth, not second.
Oh no, in a small market, which is in San Diego, one of the top 5 cities.
But I at least enjoy that we're spending money. So at least
you should.
Because if we were,
because it's showing that they care to win. They're trying to win, and the owner.
It's more fun.
You know what's funny?
Huh.
The owner.
The owner's in O'Malley.
He's the grandson
of Walter O'Malley,
who was the former owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers when they transferred over to Los Angeles.
Hated in Brooklyn, loved in LA.
So even ownership is owned by the Dodgers in some way. So there you go. We own them. I love it. Anyways, but I love the back and forth banter all season, especially like at poker, like going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of like goes into what we're going to talk about today is like
absolutely
sort of the how valuable, how golden that banter is for us as guys. And it kind of like we kind of was having this conversation after an article that we ran into, and we'll kind of go over into this article, and basically it's a study that was done, how we're currently like in a friendship recession. Not just like people talk about, oh, economy, we're in a recession, all these like inflation's high, this and that. But when we talk about friendships, this study that was done by the Center on American Life and Gallup, it talks about how we're currently in a male friendship recession, and why that's so important to uh, pay attention to, because of the consequences that it has on men's overall health. And so, kind of want to go over that and share a couple items about that, because if there's a case to be made about uh, having a guy's night out, this would be a good statistical, good data to sort of support that. So after this, maybe this will be a good push to uh, maybe have a national guys' night out day.
It's got to be done.
You know what I'm saying?
I love the idea.
So this article, let me go ahead and share like the screen real quick.
I love science.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the numbers, and if it's in the numbers,
Trust the science.
it's, you know what I mean. So this is an article by Aubrey Hirsch. He said men have fewer friends than ever, and it's harming their health. And if there's ever a time where health is uh, more important than ever, it's definitely now, especially after the 2 years we've gone through with the pandemic and everything. Um, I think it's important to
But I think I saw somewhere else also
focus
is
on our health.
after the age of 25, friendships, the amount of friendships that males have, they start declining
Yeah,
after 25.
naturally.
So it's hard to think. But what's really interesting is, okay, like COVID changed everything. Even when
Yeah,
I come into the classroom,
absolutely.
nothing's the same. Not only like how I teach, but even like the culture of the kids. Like I feel like nothing's the same. And I knew it would be like this. We all kind of knew like that, but we didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, and we've
Uh,
actually we've talked about this
uh-huh.
like before, how COVID changed not just the system of education in the way we do things, but it's also changed the culture.
How
And
we socially interact.
yeah, and so we see this on a daily basis, in different ways. But when we talk about how it's affected friendships, both you and I can attest to how much we've felt that,
Mhm.
especially during this whole COVID lockdown, and like we want to flatten the curve, this
Mhm.
blah blah blah, whatever. We can get more and more into that, but specifically looking at how American men, not just in the past few years, and this goes back to like years of study, how we've seen a decline in friendships. And I guess the first slide that we see here, it kind of emphasizes the fact that we're in a friendship recession, and more we see men have fewer friends than we did before.
Yeah.
And again, naturally, as we get older, life gets in the way sometimes, work, family, kids and everything.
Kids ruin everything. Yeah.
We're it's hard to maintain some of those friendships, and so the friendships that we do hold on are definitely even more valuable, because you go through a lot. So in this survey, it talks about how the percentage of men with at least six close friends have fallen between 1990 and 2021, where in 1990, a little bit over 50% of men had at least six close friends, right? And those numbers have declined, and you got to sort of question, well, what's leading to this decline? What's leading to these numbers drop? Why are guys having less friends, right? And so then it goes into some of the data. It goes in 1 in 5 single men say they have no close friendships. So that's 20% of guys right today say they have no close friendships.
Cut off.
To me, that's like, what do you mean? Like, for both of us, we're social butterflies,
Uh-huh.
right? We love being around our people, especially here at work in our department. We're very close. We're not just the social science department. We're like one of the most social groups on campus, and people recognize that because of how we get along and how we interact with each other. We like to have fun, but um, that also in the survey kind of talks about the effects of that. And so the lack of socializing, the lack of sort of that interaction has shown that it can weaken the immune system in a variety of ways. And when we talk about COVID and how it's important to have a strong immune system, right? Not just like uh, your physical health, but your overall social and mental health come into play. And so they talk about how someone is more likely to suffer from like Alzheimer's, sleep disruptions, high blood pressure, heart disease, inflammation, diabetes, cancer, and thinking about that during COVID, like the fact that I wasn't able to be around my family and my friends like normal,
Yeah.
like I felt it firsthand. Like I had trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten better with that, but like I was having a hard time sleeping, and it was just the lack of access I had to my people, like
Yeah.
not being able to go hang out like normal. And that's where we started having like Zoom, like those Zoom happy hours. Let's hang
Yeah.
out, even like in our own department. Like, hey, let's have a Google Meet or a Zoom, and let's
Just
just
for
talk.
shit, yeah.
Like, let's shoot the shit,
Because yeah, getting a volleyball is just not going to cut it. Wilson, right, from Castaway,
right?
it's
Like,
just not enough. Yeah, I don't have
Will,
enough imagination.
yeah, I mean, Tom Hanks pulled it off, but what happened when he lost Wilson? That volleyball was everything to him because that was his only source.
And then there's the thing where as human beings, what are we evolved into, right?
Mhm.
And we are very tribal. We need our tribe. When we feel excluded, every human being, feel excluded from our tribe, like it naturally does not feel good.
Mhm.
So the fact that who knows what, there's a lot of other factors I'm sure that contribute to this stuff. But the bottom line is there's numbers showing that a lot of things are increasing that just happen to correlate with us losing friends.
And I kind of wonder, well, how can like isolation lower your immunity, like
Yeah.
your immune? How
By the
could
way,
it lead to other ailments?
that Myers-Briggs thing, the
Mhm.
first time I did it, I was registered like 96% extroverted.
Mhm.
I did it earlier on this year. I mean, it's like 77% extroverted now.
Wow,
Freaking weird.
that's a pretty big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah,
Like
they
20%.
blew my mind. The drop off blew my mind.
So you've become a little bit more.
I've become more introverted.
Huh.
It's a freaking trip.
I'm always kind of like in the middle. I
Huh?
always like to think that I'm
Yeah.
outgoing, but I'm
Yeah.
not like outgoing. Like
Yeah.
I don't seek certain attention,
Yeah.
but I do like.
I'm an attention,
I-
right?
I-
I seek attention.
Well, I like the company.
Yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
like having a meaningful discussion,
Yeah.
conversations.
So I get a kick out of that. Mine, I apparently became more okay with just being home, being with, my small circle, my wife,
Yeah.
my son, my daughters, stuff like that.
Yeah, people you feel comfortable
But
with.
I get a big kick out of that.
So like I kind of wonder, well, how can like this isolation or the lack of friendship lead to these elements? And a lot of it comes back to like how certain things can trigger our stress, and as we know, stress has a huge sort of overall impact on our not just our physical health, but our spiritual, mental health, if you will. And so the survey then kind of goes into how we're starting to see, or mental health experts are noticing that there's a growing there's this sense of isolation that's growing in American men, which they kind of see how it could be contributing to violence, and so how can these factors of isolation and the lack of friendships, or the lack of being able to connect, or being able to feel like you belong, how could that trigger these sort of mental health disorders that we tend to see more and more lately? And
You're
I-
saying, yes.
like
It's
it's happening.
triggering more of a "I wish a bitch would" type
I
attitude.
wish a motherfucker. Yeah. But no,
No, but in all seriousness, yeah. I mean, these are all these are all hard numbers. Uh-huh.
So what led me to kind of sort of wonder was what's the correlation between the crime rates that we see today and mental health? Like, what's the connection there?
Yeah.
Especially when we hear about like shootings that are happening like in supermarkets or in malls, or unfortunately sometimes that happen at schools. Like, oftentimes people bring up, oh, what was their mental health like? Where were this? How come nobody saw this before? How come nobody said anything? But I mean, these are complicated things because you don't know what people are going through, and sometimes people are dealing with mental health issues, and you have no idea because some
Yeah.
people are better at dealing with it than others, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. You know what I'm saying? So the survey then kind of asked the question, why are men having so much trouble creating and maintaining friendships? And for me, it's kind of it's sometimes hard to sort of grasp that, because like I still have a very close group of friends, and I have like several groups of friends that I still in contact with. We don't see each other every day, we don't see each other often, but we know that we're there, and I don't know. For me, it's kind of naturally something that I've been able to do because of the fact of that I always valued that friendship and understand that
Yeah.
even though we don't see each other often, we know we're there, and we occasionally will, uh, obviously before COVID, get together and make it an effort.
That's the thing I have.
you know,
I think since COVID, I think I've become more trusting in the circles that exist for me. I appreciate them more, but
Mhm.
I see them less often.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah,
that they're there.
yeah,
Like
uh,
if you need something, you can count on. Not
correct.
that you would hope that
Yeah,
you need them for certain
yeah.
things, but you know that they're there if you count them.
And then there's other weird external, like anecdotal factors. Like for example, we wanted to get together, and we normally go to a bar down the way after school on Fridays or something like that. Hey, just one Fridays or something.
Yeah,
And this year, last year we couldn't do it, but because that bar was closed. This year the bar's open, but it doesn't open till
yeah.
later.
So later,
So now we gotta find a different spot, and then
yeah. So it's
and then
like,
we lost our team leader.
yeah,
Yeah, she had 3 kids. She messed it all. She messed it all up.
they know who they are.
They
They know
know
who
who
they
they
are.
are.
So one of the statistics that kind of like I found kind of like wow, was that 52% of people 18 to 29 live with their parents. Um, Young Americans are living with their parents longer, and those that often forego making other friendships and bonds outside of their home. So it's like the fact that it seems like the fact that more people are living with their parents. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's showing that there's a what's the relation there? The longer
Yeah,
you live with your parents, the less likely you are maintaining some of those friendships that you have, and you're having less of those connections that you had before. Which I don't know. I kind of found it interesting, but at the same time, it begs the question: what's leading more men to live with their parents longer?
yeah.
I mean, you can talk about that, like from a social science standpoint, the economic standpoint. Like,
Right away, I'm
what's
thinking like
what's the impact
property
on economic?
property values. The average income, like initial wage earners, is not like technically it's more, but as far as the GDP growing, the wages have not kept up at the same rate as that GDP. Things like that. So, but right away, those things popping up like, why aren't kids? I remember I moved out, and you have to get several roommates
Yeah.
when I first
Oh
moved to
yeah.
the house. It's just the way it is.
Oh
But even then, apparently it's getting even harder than that. And there's gas price issues.
oh yeah. I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
able to buy my house when I bought it if I didn't have roommates,
Uh-huh.
because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of the fact that making a teacher's wages in Arizona, that didn't help either. But is the housing industry to blame for all this? Like the fact that people have to live with their parents
Mhm.
longer. You know, I remember when
Yeah.
before I bought my house, I I moved out of where from the previous roommates I had, and I lived with my parents just for a few months to uh, as I looked for a house. And I just remember how different it was feeling. I love my parents and everything, but I definitely felt how different it was living under their roof, and just kind of being more mindful of of living with them, not being able to invite people over and have like I just have all my parents are asleep, like I can't have people like over like I did in my previous house and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But I don't know. It kind of begs that question: is it because of how expensive how houses have gone that people
Yeah.
have to live with parents or roommates longer and stuff like that? But also like changes in the workplace, and more than ever, we've seen that happen. We just kind of mentioned how different it is here, but also the fact that more Americans are working longer hours. They've had to switch jobs more often. A lot of people are working from home. I know we did it for a whole year. That is is that also contributing to all of this? The fact that people are feeling more burnt out. Um, how is that? What are the pros and cons of working remotely? There's definitely pros, but there's also cons. But I remember working from home, like I felt stuck. Like I'm at home all day, and I was like, well, I'll go here because I'm teaching online. But it's like, well, where am I gonna go? Things are closed. I don't have that freedom as one would think because where am I gonna go? Oh, I'll go to a friend's
Yeah.
house, but can't go to a friend's house because you know their grandma or their mom lived there and they're trying to COVID, keep it. Yeah,
Immunocompromised.
exactly. So, but also working from home, I hurt my back just sitting for a whole year teaching online all year.
Interesting.
That was yeah. So I rarely sit down. I have a standing desk in my classroom. I don't know. It was a trip for sure. Um, but then also like it talks about how we tend to, and you have a boy and a girl, right? How you raise your son and how you raise your daughter. What's the difference? Like I don't have kids. You're an expert in this. So how we raise our children also has some kind of effect on that, right? So in the survey it talks about how we tend to socialize young boys, especially in particular, to hide their vulnerabilities by um, ensuring that hey you're a guy, you got to be tough, right? You don't cry.
Yeah.
You know, we've heard it before. Quit acting like a little girl.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's sort of reinforcing the idea that you're not allowed to feel certain ways.
Uh-huh.
You know, you're not allowed to show weakness. You have to be tough,
Yeah.
and you know,
I wish I cried more, but I just can't.
and so that kind of
I want to cry.
you know masculinity over your feelings,
Uh-huh.
right? And in our culture, the best example I can think of, los hombres no lloran,
Yeah.
right? Growing up, you hear that, hey, no llores, sea hombre, and it's that whole machismo uh, idea that
On both sides,
you
bro.
have to be tough.
Look back at even. I thought a great example of that was like a staple example of that is from the movie A League of Their Own when Tom Hanks tells the girl that.
Oh,
And so what baseball's created upon a culture of a bunch of men.
there's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, so of course you're coaching girls, you're dealing with a whole different dynamic. Not, but and so, I mean, yeah, that's just an example. And like in either side of the border, this was heavily pushed, right? The masculinity.
Yeah, but I mean, and there is something to be said to be able to build a sense of mental toughness. Like you shouldn't let things get to you so easily. You should not sort of be quick to buckle under pressure, right? It is important to have mental toughness, but when you're talking about your feelings, that's not necessarily the same thing. And so this whole idea that we have to be masculine and not show our feelings or not even like express our feelings is something that in the next part of the survey it shows that men are less likely in compared to women to share their personal feelings and receive emotional support from their friends.
Yeah.
So you look at the numbers, 41% women, 21% of men, the percentage of people who reported receiving emotional support from a friend last week. So it's just not something that we're not wired to do. Like we didn't grow up like seeking like, hey, I need to show my feelings, right? As guys, you have to be tough. And I was talking to Pete about this the other day, and like the difference between a guy's night out and a girl's night out, right? When girls get together, they want to like gossip and like, hey, this is happening, and like kind of like they'll cry, they express their emotions, like, and guys are like, no, we don't talk about that. Let's just hang out. Let's talk sports.
It's more service talk. It's more
hey, carne asada. Let's cook out, drink some beers, and that's our way of sort of comforting, like. But we don't. It's harder for us to share personal feelings unless we feel like a sense of sheer comfort that I can express these feelings and not necessarily feel. Not to say that we feel judged, but just be comfortable in doing that. And so
I know that like so lately since COVID, I've been finding myself like trying to convince my wife that I have feelings, and I think it throws her off She's not used to me expressing
because you never did it before.
I just keep, you keep rolling, right? That the whole there's no, you just freaking keep rolling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people are better at it. Like, I looking at some of my close friends, especially some of my family.
They tell you their problems.
Not necessarily, but like when I talk about like expressing their feelings or expressing like love,
Oh,
like the way we express love is
yeah.
it's different in everybody. The way
Yeah.
you express it is different than the way I might do it.
Mhm.
But I think one thing that we both are in agreement is that one way to express your love is just be there, like be present. And for some of us, this is how I'm showing you how I feel about you. I'm here, and whatever you need. I don't necessarily tell you I love you, like so freely, but some people need that, and if you don't say it, then they might feel a certain type of way. But in the survey, then it moves on and talks about um, those who 49% of women that 49% of women are more likely to tell their friends that they love them, like verbally, right? And then 25% of guys are being able to say do the same thing. So the percentage of people who told a friend that they love them in the last week, 49% in comparison. So
guys express that they love people is different.
Yeah.
To where like I think it's a real chemistry thing. Like girls need to hear it constantly, right? And like it's not, of course, that's not universal.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, like I think my dad's told me he loved me once in his life, and he doesn't have to because I know, right? I don't really go and.
But you know that about him. Like know that he doesn't have to be verbal about it.
Uh-huh.
Does your tío love you?
Well, no, we don't have to tell you. No,
but you know he does.
Yeah.
So growing up,
he calls me, busts my balls, and tells me.
So growing up, that same thing. Like I knew my dad loved me, but I don't remember him like consistently verbalizing it.
Yeah.
Until
and we didn't need that, right?
No, I didn't need it.
It's trip, yeah.
But I knew it because he would hug me. He'd see you home, give me a kiss. ¿Cómo estás, mijo? Mm-hmm. He would go to my games when he wasn't working. That's how I knew he cared because he was there after work. Yeah. Working in the fields. Different ways of like verbalizing. But guys,
we get the feeling things from our moms.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's kind of where like you talk about traditional roles and gender norms and stuff like that.
Why is there an upside down fist?
Well, it talks about how men stifled by traditional gender norms were also 7 times more likely to have used physical violence and twice as likely to have suicidal thoughts.
Oh, so I have to be the man of the house, and you're threatening me, I'll beat you. Okay. And then, I am not the man of the house, and that the whole. During depressions and recessions, people tend to leave their families more often.
Why?
And even the suicide rates go up. Why? And it's right there. Like, you can't provide for your family. You are supposed to be the man. You're supposed to provide. I thought they had a great scene in the movie Rudy. Remember that? And whenever I teach Great Depression, I show that clip about the guy whose dad during the Great Depression had a whole farm, had a dream. Saved up a bunch of money, bought a bunch of cattle, and they lived their dream living on a farm. All of a sudden, the cattle get sick, all the cattle die, left nothing. Next, like they foreclose on the farm, and then all of a sudden, dad disappears and never comes back again. And so people like to throw in the idea of race. If you're black or if you're whatever, that dads are less like that's more of an issue of like a poverty thing. It seriously is.
Yeah.
It's more of an issue. It's a poverty issue. If a man cannot provide for the home, it's not a race thing. Statistically, you'll see it heavier in poor neighborhoods where that happens.
Especially with that
and I felt
sense
that
of masculinity, right?
Yeah,
I can't provide for my family.
Yeah.
I'm not worth anything.
I remember when I moved back to the Valley, my wife had a full-time job. She was making more money than me. Should I care about that? No, just like Tom Brady shouldn't care about that, right? His wife is worth double what he is.
And she's earned it.
$400 million, and he's worth $200 million.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he's the greatest of all time, and so you could argue there's other balls different. But she did do. What's my point? I forgot. The idea that your wife makes more money. So when we moved back to the Valley, I didn't have that job where I made more than her anymore. In fact, I didn't have a job. I was working like substituting, working concrete construction. But man, I remember that feeling. And I never told her anything how I felt about making less money. And I shouldn't, right? I'm an equal opportunity guy. Women should be able to eat all that stuff. But it's just like a feeling inside. And the day that I passed her in salary from teaching, it took like 2, 3 years, whatever, or maybe 4. I remember I told her, I was like, okay, I finally make more than you. And she looks at me like, I didn't know you cared. And I told her, I didn't know I cared either. But I just, it was just a feeling. It's like,
It's
I
weird,
have to,
huh? No.
I have to. It's more like internal. Nobody says,
Like an
I
internal.
lost my job, lost the house.
Like
I'm
a
going to go
pride
and
thing,
run
right?
away. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this, like this.
It's just
like,
it's how we're
it's kind of
raised.
like an ego thing, right?
But it's how it's
But
that
you didn't know that
masculinity thing,
was there, and so
Mhm.
does that mean that Tom Brady would get child support in this whole thing?
Yeah, he's gonna cut.
Oh wow!
He's gonna cut.
So,
Yeah.
but you talk about the Great Depression. A lot of men left their families because they couldn't, support their family. But also, one of the things I remember the suicide rates. And recently, I was watching like a reel on Instagram. It kind of looked at like statistics on sort of the male side of suicide rates, and this one kind of goes into that. Studies have found that gender specific links between suicide and the loneliness in men, but not just that. Men are committing suicide like 3.5 times more than women. So statistically, when you look at suicides, the rates of suicides are higher in men than in women.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of begs another question: is like, well, why, right? And so I couldn't understand I couldn't pronounce this word, but in this study, U.S. clinical psychologist Ronald Levin suggests the term normal male
Wait, I just said it right now, man.
alexithymia, alexithymia, okay,
Alexi.
NMA, right, to describe the inability of men to put words to their feelings resulting from conformity to traditional
Yeah.
masculine norms. So, like, sometimes guys just they can't find the words to express how they feel, right?
Yeah, kiss my ass could mean 10 different things.
Yeah, it could be, I love you.
Yeah, kiss my ass could mean I love you.
Yeah. So, and then so the study then confirmed that men with NMA had lower relationship satisfaction and the quality of communication and greater fear of intimacy also was seen in that. So, um,
Baby, I have feelings too.
they're there.
Hold me.
We just don't know how to say it. We
Yeah.
can't sometimes find the words because we weren't wired that way, or uh, we just didn't learn that growing up because you have to be tough. Los hombres no lloran. No sea chillón, right? Or, hey, quit acting like a little girl. These are things that reinforce that idea. And so anytime that like you show uh, some type of quote unquote feminine traits like feelings, and you're like, quit being a little bee, whatever. And so it's that in itself. Like you're trained as a young kid to be tough, but in that sense as well, it's making it harder for us to at a later stage sort of being able to express and communicate those feelings. But when guys are together, it's different because, and you and I have seen it firsthand, when the guys get together, we're just boom, we're ourselves, right? We give each other crap back and forth, but it's always done in like in a loving, friendly way.
Yes.
In a way, right? Like a
And
poker night.
and the jokes, like with people who knows best, the banter, the carrilla could be
La carrilla.
it could be freaking hard, man. But everybody understands that person really doesn't have a problem with me.
No.
And that's the best part. Like they dish it to you. I remember I had a student like that one year, especially if you're Mexican, right? There's a white kid, and if you don't grow up around this stuff, man, it could be really tough. So he was like struggling, and these guys are always. I pulled him aside and look at. The more they do it, what they're really telling you is that they actually like you.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is learn to laugh at yourself first.
Yes.
And then dish it back a little bit, and see. And I remember at the end of the year, like he did that. And I was giving my end of the year speech, and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to congratulate and so Edouard." You're probably not listening, but And we did that, dude. All the Mexicans in the class did, yeah. But like as fans of him, for being able to make that transition from getting all butthurt and all like this to being able to laugh at himself and dish it back.
Yeah.
And I think with the definitely with Mexican culture, but I've also
yeah.
heard it about the card group about man, they dish it in a very similar way.
And it's like you should expect it.
Uh-huh.
Like you should expect that
Yeah.
carrilla, that
Yeah.
banter, that
With the close
like,
friends.
I make fun of you because I
Yeah.
care. I like you.
You better be able to laugh at yourself
Yeah,
because
you have
man,
to.
you're gonna,
Don't,
yeah, exactly.
don't take yourself too
Make
seriously.
it fun of
right?
you because I like you. Huh?
But that's sort of why we, you know,
Yeah.
those are the things that we look forward to, right? And so, a guy's night out is different than a girl's night out because guys, we do stupid shit. We do dumb things, but that's what gives us that sense of happiness that we can do that.
Like even like
not take it serious.
Even like during lunch, right? There's our
like our lunch during our lunch session.
And hey, where's Cindy? One of only two girls in the apartment. Right? Hey, where's Cindy at? Oh, they don't we don't sometimes we don't say she's having lunch with the girls. We say she's having like cheese man day.
It's
gossip day.
It's time for cheese man. So
yeah,
they're having cheese time. Cheese man, whatever.
Like that.
It's
and really, what's going on is it's a girls' lunch.
Yeah,
which is fine. Guys lunch, whatever.
But they need that.
It's totally, yeah.
It's just like we need.
It's just funny how different the dynamic is.
Exactly.
And I was even telling you, like, what do we do together? We get together, we do like stupid videos, presentations, whatever. And I was telling you that my wife, she had girls come over, like a girls' night. She came, and I had to take my daughter to the house and go somewhere, whatever, for a few hours. And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What are you doing? What's all these decorations?" And she's like, "Oh, we're having a housewives party, but like for the Real Housewives of all
stuff
Atlanta,
that guys would never think of."
And like she had decorations hanging from the wall, and like candles lit, like it was super. I think that I would never think of pictures of all the stars, whatever. Like a candle, like of Andy Cohen, I remember, and what they did was sat around, and they would just watch the show, and they'd be sipping bubbly and probably talking shit. But it's just so different from guys.
And for us, dynamic. It's just like we're just being there, playing poker,
talking trash.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, what happens? We're all laughing and joking. Hey, it's good to see you, brother.
Yeah,
you give a hug, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like hugs are back.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to a buddy before, like, what do you mean hugs are back? When did they ever leave? It was like social distancing. We had to put hugs on hold, and that did it. That did something to people. Like the fact that you didn't know how to shake their hand or like fist bump or like, hey, social distance. Like the fact that I couldn't hug my parents comfortably for some time. Damn, that was tough. But when you saw your friends, it's like, hey, when I see you, just let you know I'm gonna give you a hug.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you even had to communicate that, I was like, what the hell? I was like, that's weird. But now it's like, nah. If I see you, and if you're a close friend of mine, I'm gonna give you a hug. We're huggers, right?
Yeah.
We're huggers. So, but this is another reason why it's a guy's night out is so healthy for us, right? Because we need that social release occasionally. Like, you know what? We just need to go out with the guys and just be stupid and say stupid shit and just be in their presence. Carne asada, beer, whatever. We just need to be there.
A great example of that, a few years back, was they had this show called The Man Show.
Yes.
And it kind of exemplified like
couldn't get away with it anymore now.
No. It's some chauvinist stuff going on, whatever.
Jimmy Kimmel and Anna Carolla.
Anna Carolla. And there was some stuff but it was like exemplary of just guys very light, talking trash, messing around, stupid jokes about stupid things. And it was a pretty solid example of most men how they hang out and interact. Absolutely.
But the fact that we're seeing that specifically in men, that American men are having less close friends now.
Yeah,
that's a big issue.
Yeah.
So I propose a national guys' night out holiday, and we need to start a movement. So for all those wives out there, girlfriends,
movement starts now.
Hey, guys' night out for your guys' health.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
So
I really realized before. So whenever my wife tells me, "Hey, and so want to have lunch, so want to have drinks," now initially I'm thinking, "Freaking go!" For two reasons. One, because I know she needs it for her mental health. We all need it, right? Two, that gives me a free pass. Bet you're out. Yeah. Hey, no, go. No, I'm not going to call you I'm not gonna send you pictures of our daughter, whatever, so you don't feel good. No, just
go. Just go.
I
Because
really want you to enjoy it.
what does it say? Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, because I know when I'm out, I want to be out.
That's right. So, but yeah, let's start the movement. National Guys Night Out holiday. We need to pick a month, maybe like Super Bowl or something, or like maybe when the Dodgers make the World Series, something along the lines. I don't know. I think we proved our point. What's the best thing you've seen all week?
Oh, I can't see it on camera.
I'll go first then.
Yeah.
We went to with my baby brother. We went to Algodones, a bowl of hot birria, chivo. How do you say chivo in English? Goat.
Uh-huh.
Goat birria in a little spot in Algodones, Birreria El Paisa. Bomb birria. It was so good, worth the drive, worth the wait in line coming back, and like they have like little tacos guisados, rajas con queso y crema. I don't know how you say it in English. I don't know how to translate right now.
Cheese and
chile verde, cheese and cream cheese. So good, so good. That was like, I mean, I saw a lot of good things this weekend. I hung out with some old high school friends. Hung out with my best friend Crispy, Zenaida. But my baby brother came in town. Like that bowl, we both sat there and we're like, oh, so good. Just see the steam rise. Best. Birreria El Paisa, Los Algodones in Mexico. Highly recommend it. Hole in the wall. That's the best thing I've seen in a week.
I'm trying to think of the best thing I've seen all week besides Aaron Judge hit 62.
There we go.
There's and of course Albert Pujols a little longer. He went 700 to 701, I believe. And then there's another record. Why can't I remember the stupid record? Aaron Judge, Albert Pujols,
Cabrera, 3,000 hits.
3,000 hits. Cabrera.
It's been a good season.
Yeah, last guy to win the triple crown.
That's true.
Cabrera.
That's true.
You know he got struck out in the World Series by an 85-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle from
Sergio Romo.
Brawley, right?
Sergio Romo, I remember that.
Yeah, like an 85-mile-an-hour. His
painful
slider was so good that he struck out the Triple Crown winner with an 85-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle. That's how good his slider was.
But 3 sliders in a row. He was expecting fastball, and he threw a slider. And that hurts to watch.
Well, the one that struck him out was an 85-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But why did because he was expecting because it moved so much.
The third one was
the Brawley cat struck out the Triple Crown.
He ended up playing with the Dodgers for a bit.
Romo? Yeah.
Anyways, hey, it was good talk. Let's do it again.
I'm still trying to
think about it.
Best thing I've seen all week was here we go. My son sent me a video of some airplane clip, Leslie Nielsen, and it started giving me flashes. And I text you when I got that. Like, hey, we should do a show on like a Mount Rushmore on comedies or something like that.
Actors.
Mount Rushmore of comedians. Ooh.
I like that. Let's get into that. All right, Papi.
National Guys Night Out.
Let's make it happen. National Guys Night Out. Who's in? Let's go.
I'm in.
Let's do it. All right, Papi. So next time.